Hi, Rob Tapper, University of Montana. We're going to be doing a video series on working on your routine / warming up. There's another set that has to do with more jazz-oriented warm-up stuff, but this is more of a brass warm-up. So the first thing is, when we think about a warm-up or routine, it's something we do every day. If you exercise, some people exercise, they like to get up at 5 in the morning, not me, and they like to go through their exercise, and then they're set for the day. Some people like to exercise in the morning, late in the morning, afternoon, evening. It doesn't really matter. The most important thing is that you do it. And it's the same thing with this. The most important thing is you do it at some point in the day. And you're trying to cover all the different aspects of what you're going to be warming up and what you're going to be playing. So let's start with the basics. The embouchure. We want to make sure that we have the proper set here so that we can execute things in the most confident manner possible. So one of the things we see oftentimes is an embouchure that collapses. Sometimes I call it the frog. You see the bulb underneath, right? There's a bulge on top as well when you're playing. Any of these things that are occurring will cause you not to have accuracy, and more important, will not allow you to be as confident as you want to be and need to be when you're playing an instrument. So one thing we can do, a quick check, is if you get in front of a mirror, you take a pencil, and you put it in between your lips. Don't put it too far in. You want to rest it on your lips. And what you're going to try to do is take the tip and lift it up. And while you do that, you're then going to discover 4 corners here, and you're going to understand your set for when you're playing. Also, one of the things I've heard is right here you want to try to achieve a valley here, because this is where a lot of your core foundation comes from, the bottom lip and underneath here. So if I put the pencil in, and it's just something you can do every day, but you need to make sure you do it in front of a mirror, because you can't guess on that one. There's so many little tiny muscles in there that trying to control them without seeing them is super challenging. So put the pencil in. And then you want to hold it. And you don't want to hold it for too long, but if you can hold it for 10 seconds or 15 seconds, it's just going to start to build up those little tiny muscles. And that's really important in our playing. So another thing that I'm a big advocate for, and as we go through this, I'm going to give you an opportunity to try a bunch of different things. Some people say those things work, some people say they don't work. Some things work for people and some things don't work for people. What you need to do is establish what works for you, what feels good, and helps you create confidence. So, buzzing. 2 kinds of buzzing. We can deal with what we call the free buzz, which is without the mouthpiece. And more than anything, it's just getting everything activated. It's checking on that embouchure again. I like to do it in front of a mirror just to kind of see what I'm doing. But when you're dealing with free buzz, and players, you want to make sure that you find your free buzz not from the piano, but from yourself. Always have your ears allow the horn, and whatever you're doing, that is an extension of what's going on in here. So you want to find your free buzz pitch and then find it on the piano. Try not to force a pitch into this, because it may not be where things are set up. So if I randomly choose as my free buzz pitch, right, that's an A. Tomorrow it may be an A flat, tomorrow it may be an F, the day after that, doesn't matter. But find that free buzz and then try to manipulate it as much as possible. You can do it as a siren, or you can do it as pitches. Or as a siren. Whatever it is, that's your free buzz. And one good thing with buzzing, whether it's free buzz or mouthpiece buzzing, always try to come back to the pitch you started with as your reference. So I do a little free buzzing. Usually takes 30 seconds. And then mouthpiece buzzing. The mouthpiece buzzing, there are a lot of advocates for this, and there are a lot of people that are not for it. But again, it's one more thing that either helps you or it doesn't help you, but it's up to you to find out. So the mouthpiece buzzing, a couple of rules of mouthpiece buzzing. Don't use your tongue. Allow the air to go through the mouthpiece as though it's going to go through the horn. You don't want your tongue to end up being some sort of impediment to that airstream. So when you're buzzing pitches, again, this may be the same pitch, it may be a different pitch, whatever it may be. Again, siren, or pitches. Doesn't matter what it is. Ultimately, you get more comfortable with it. At first, it's going to be tricky. It's not going to be familiar. It's going to feel weird. It's going to sound weird. It might not sound great. But the more you can get used to it, the better off you're going to be. Ultimately, you want to strive for just some simple up 5, down 5. If you're familiar with anything I've done, I do it in jazz all the time. We use the first 5 pitches of a scale. Again, no tongue in there. Allow the air to go through the mouthpiece and do what it's supposed to do. Just getting things tingling and happening. So you can do a bunch of those. You can go up and down the piano as much as you want. You find the pitch you're on. So I shifted to an A flat. You can do it with your truth, your metronome. You can do it at a time. Doesn't really matter as long as you're doing something that's creating a path to confidence. Allowing yourself to get familiar with the piano while you're doing this is going to be really helpful for you. Try to get the piano to be your friend as opposed to being an enemy. The piano is going to contain so much information for you, not just for your ear, not just for your playing, but also for theory and harmony. So get familiar with the piano. Start to do some of these things, these up 5, down 5s with the piano, and you're going to discover a whole lot. It's going to be a challenging course, but well worth it. When you're doing your warm-up or routine, the truth is vital. So, nice and loud. That's a new one, new batteries. Everything with the truth. For me, it develops a real sense of calm. It kind of becomes very meditative for me to just have that going on as I'm doing my thing. It allows me to kind of breathe in time, play in time, feel time. It really sets me up as opposed to when I warm up or do my routine without it. So, nice easy exercise. We go down all the positions of the horn, excuse me. So I go through all 7 of those positions. And then, and a lot of what I do, I involve my trigger range. So then I go to 3rd position and I pull the trigger down. After I've gone E, B, E in 7th position, I then come into trigger 3rd position and I keep my trigger down and I use those. So that's 7th, E, B, E, and then I come into trigger, E flat, B flat, E flat. So I go down, I use those 4 positions. E flat in 3rd, D in flat 4th, D flat in 6th, right in 6th position, and then my C way out in 7th position, a little farther than 7th position. So that's my Lauren Marsteller long tone warm up. The next thing is I pivot to the Emery Remington that everybody does, long tone exercise. You can find it all over the place, online in books. So after I've done that, partial of that shelf, B flat, A, B flat, A flat, all the way down to E, I then shift to the lower partial, starting the same thing on my F partial, F shelf. And that goes all the way down to F to B flat I use my trigger most of the time. Then F, B. And then I finish that partial off with my F to B flat. And then I continue again with my lower partial, low B flat, which is an octave below what I started with. And I finish that one off by going to my trigger E flat. What's great about that is, working on your sound, working on filling up the horn, the beauty of the horn, working also on a light legato tongue. Do-do, or light da-da, very light. And also then having to execute that same articulation all the way out to seventh by throwing the slide out there. And that's a long distance to try to coordinate that articulation. And if you can do that well, then you can get around the horn pretty well. So that's the Remington exercise. Then I go to, there's a great trombone player, principal trombone player in the Boston Symphony Orchestra, Toby Oft. I was fortunate to have him do a master class for our folks last spring. And he sent along his warm-up, and there's a thing he does in there that I'm sure he's borrowed as well. This just gets the range of the horn going, blowing through the shelves, through the partials, to try to get nice, coordinated, beautiful, syrupy sound in between. What goes up then must come down. Again, same thing as what we do with the Marsteller. After we get to the 7th position, we come into trigger 3rd. I'll demonstrate that. And we go down that range as well. So starting with E. Now E flat, trigger. Again, all the way down. E flat, trigger 3rd, D flat 4th, D flat 6th, and pedal C all the way out, way just a little past 7th. So those exercises are a beginning to my routine, my warm-up that I do pretty consistently. Hope you enjoy them. Let me know if you have any questions.